post. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay. So we have started the new unit, fundamentals of acoustics, and here we will be looking at. So let us see. Let us see. We will. I'll hand over the notes regarding the last lecture to you. So don't worry about that. It was a very fundamental part. And let us quickly recapitulate all the things what we have covered in the last lecture. Okay. So don't worry about that. So yesterday we have started this unit, fundamentals of acoustics, where the emphasis has been given for sound. Okay, what could be, as far as transmission of sound is concerned, what could be the quality, okay, for the transmission, for what purpose, and what precautions we need to take care of. Okay, so all such things have been covered. So in this, the constituents of this unit, studio acoustics and reverberation. So yeah, yesterday we have seen what do you mean by the reverberation term, right? So reverberation. Also, we have seen the differentiation, okay, between echo and reverberation, right? Okay. So today we will see reverberation again and some other terminologies associated with reverberation as well as the studio acoustics. Okay. And from tomorrow, we will be looking at PA system for auditorium and acoustic chamber. And then in subsequent lecture, we will be covering all these 4 points. Okay, so this in fundamentals of acoustics, we will mostly emphasizing on the production of the sound, transmission of the sound, adding effect to them. Okay, and and we will be transferring this from microphone to speakers. So we will also look at what kind of instruments we need to use. Okay, so that is the important thing. Okay, so the yesterday also we have seen the reverberation time. Okay, and the formula for reverberation time is E equals to 55.3 multiplied by upon C by A, where V is the volume. Okay, C is the speed of sound and A is the absorption coefficient. Okay, so basically, uh, reverberation is desirable. Okay, that we have seen yesterday. As far as the application is concerned, whether you are dealing with the speech, whether you are dealing with the music concert, whether you are dealing with some other musical instruments, and so many things. Okay, based upon that, okay, we have to set some amount of reverberation time so as to add the good quality of sound, so as to create a good quality of sound. Okay, so that is very much important, right? And also we have seen the absorption coefficient alpha, which is equals to, this is the ratio of energy absorbed by unit surface divided by energy received by unit surface. Okay, so that factor we have seen. Okay, because in absorption coefficient, it is basically summation of multiplication of surface area with the respective absorption coefficient. So if you consider open air, okay, that has got also some amount of absorption coefficient. Okay, here we will consider as it as 1. Okay, if you are having a thin carpet, thick carpet, curtains, walls, audiences, okay, for all such factors your absorption coefficient is different, right? Okay. So yesterday we left this session with this point: growth and decay of a sound. Okay. So today we will start listening about the growth and decay of sound. Okay, so before going to this one, let us again go with the reverberation. Okay, so this is your source. Some music is being played, and here you are sitting. Okay, so this is some kind of a distance from the source. Okay, now the thing is that the sound produced by the source can directly reach to the listener, okay, by this direction, or there are multiple reflection paths through which you can listen the sound. Once it is originated, okay, so it takes some amount of time, let's say delta t, when the direct sound is there. But if you go with this one waveform, two waveform, third waveform, it is delta t plus some time, again some uh, small factor. Let us consider this as a t, and let us suppose one is taking plus delta t1 plus t plus delta t2 and so on, based upon means how that waveform is taking path, okay, to reach up to the listener. Okay, so reverberant sound is the collection of all the reflected sounds in an auditorium. So that is the generic definition of the reverberation. Okay, and what, by this factor we are calculating the reverberation time, which is nothing but time to drop 60 dB below original level of the sound. Okay, because it is taking multiple reflection paths. Okay, so there are certain constraints as we have seen earlier. Okay, means whether the reverberation is desired or not. Okay, because uh, for echo also you have to satisfy certain. I'm sorry, you have to satisfy certain criteria. Am I right? Okay, but thus reverberation is a series of echoes producing within the hall. Okay, so what is a desirable reverberation time then? That is the question. Okay, so based upon your usage, okay, based upon your usage, you can decide what amount of reverberation time is required. Okay, so for general purpose auditorium, for both speech and music, okay, so this is the generic use. Your reverberation time should be within 1.5 to 2.5. Okay, so based upon your application, you have to set your reverberation time. Okay, but as you go below 1.5 and above 1.5, okay, let us see, okay, for what purpose it has been used. Okay, so highly reflective surfaces lengthen the reverberation time. Means you are having, if you are having highly reflective surfaces, okay, the surfaces which are not absorbing the sound energy, right? So go with the 3.5, 5.5, and 8.5 seconds. Means these are the factors for the reverberation time. So what they are saying is, what they are mentioning is, the good news is fuller, richer music sound, but the bad news is some loss of articulation, more difficulty to understand the speech. Okay, so these are the factors. Just a minute. I'm having a call. I'll get back to you. Hello. Thank you for that. Okay. So, uh, what I was saying, yeah, there are some pros and cons if you are reaching above the limit and below the limit. Okay. So, for concert, okay, it is very good. But when you are intended to hear the speech, okay, means more amount of sound energy is reflected, then the speech signal is not that much clear. Okay, so it gets disturbed as you go above the limit. And below this, absorbing surfaces shorten the reverberation time, means more amount of sound energy is getting absorbed. Okay, then here we are having the clearer articulation of the speech. Okay, desirable for lecture halls and speech only. But the bad news is loss of richness and fullness, not desirable for playing music. Means the picture is now clear for us. Okay, so the thing is that this is your limit. Okay, above that you can go for musics, music and so on, and below that go for the right. So here one more factor you need to consider, that is no reverberation. Okay, is pure inverse square law behavior. No reverberation gives pure inverse square law behavior. So we will first see what do you mean by inverse square law. Okay, then the picture will be more clear. Just for the sake, okay, you just remember that no reverberation gives pure inverse square law. We will see what is the inverse square law behavior. So yesterday also we have seen one more example to calculate the reverberation time. Am I right? Okay. So how reverberation is calculated? Previously RT 60. Okay. So 60 dB below. That's why this 60 is there. And RT is reverberation time. It is calculated as, yes. What was the, sorry? Fortunately, the application is stopped. I'll share it again. Okay. So yesterday we have calculated the reverberation time. Okay. So RT 60, right, is equals to, what was the formula that we have seen earlier? It was 55.3 multiplied by V upon C into A. A is the absorption coefficient, which is nothing but the multiplication of surface into this absorption coefficient. Okay, c is the speed of light, that is 344 meters per second, and v is the volume of enclosure. Okay, so but here if you take the ratio of this one, okay, you will again get this figure. Okay, so you can go RT 60 is equals to 0.16 into v upon a. Okay, so same thing is mentioned over here. Okay, so if you consider the hall of height 8 meters, okay, length is 15 meters, and width is 10 meters. Okay, so what else is required? With reference to these dimensions, you need to calculate the volume. Am I right? Okay, and as well as you have to consider what are the surfaces, okay, that has been included for this one. Okay, so the walls are present, right, along with the height and length and width. Okay, floor is present, WL, ceiling is present. Okay, this one. So these are the surfaces. Okay, so for that you are going to take the average of this one. Okay, so it gives 0.3. Okay, the effective absorbing surface area. Okay, now you have to calculate. Let me rub this. Okay, so this area. Okay, so that is this much. Okay, so multiplication of these two you have performed. Okay, then also you have to calculate the volume. Okay, put all the values over here, and finally you will get the reverberation time as 0.92 seconds. So now you can tell me in which class it is falling. So here, lying somewhere here, within 1 second, 2.3 seconds. So this is good for speech. Am I right? This is good for speech. So this is the example. Now here there are some examples. Okay, the auditoriums cited below are some of the most outstanding in the world. Okay, and they show the consistent pattern of having significantly longer reverberation times for low frequencies. Now again there is a one more point to be considered. If you are calculating the reverberation time for a sound, okay, for a particular frequency, let's say if we are dealing with that with the audio frequency, okay, so it is having the different behavior because the upper bound for the audio is 20 kilohertz, right? But if something is, you know, for let us consider the range just 20 hertz, 20 kilohertz, and there are n number of frequencies present over here. And if you consider the reverberation for different frequency, okay, for some various types of enclosures. Okay, so let us take an example. Uh, this Symphony Hall, Boston. Okay, so here it is having this much uh, value of this reverberation time. Okay, so here you are having uh, the reverberation time for 125 hertz is 2.2. Reverberation time for 500 hertz is 1.8, and reverberation time for 200 hertz, that is 2 kilohertz, is 1.7. Okay, so this is the figures given for various auditoriums. Okay, famous auditoriums. So as you can see, the plot of the frequency versus the reverberation time, you can see that the behavior, uh, the reverberation time decreases as you are approaching to the higher frequencies. Okay, so again we need to consider the volume of the enclosure also, but roughly we can see. Okay, some examples have been given: Symphony Hall, Boston, okay, Kennedy Center, Washington, and Albert Hall, London. Okay, so in that you can see for the frequencies, okay, 125 hertz, okay, then 500 hertz and 200 hertz. You can see the reverberation time requirement for these frequencies is like this. So it is decreasing basically. So at higher frequencies, you know the reverberation time quite lesser as far as higher lower frequencies are concerned. Okay, so it also depends on means the volume of the surface in which you are going to calculate. So before going to this inverse square law problem, first we'll understand what is inverse square law in general, because it applies to the electromagnetic field, electric field, and radiation field also. Okay, so any point source, okay, any point source which spreads its influence equally in all direction without a limit to its range, inverse square law. Okay, so this is the point source, and it is spreading you know its influence in all direction. Okay, so this comes from a strictly geometrical consideration. The intensity of the influence at a given radius r. So we will consider this portion. Okay, so here the radius r, because it is just basically a spherical area. Okay, so if you consider a point source in a three-dimensional space, so it is spreading its influence in all three dimensions. Okay, so let us draw a sphere and the radius of that sphere is r. Okay, so the intensity of the influence at given radius r is the source strength divided by the area of the sphere. Okay, so here intensity is given by what? Yes, what we have seen, the intensity of the influence at a given radius r is the source strength divided by the area of the sphere. Okay, so your source strength divided by area. Okay, ठीक है, area of the sphere. So being strictly geometric in its origin, the inverse square law applies to diverse the phenomena. Okay, the point source of gravitational force, electric field, or light, or sound, or radiation obey inverse square law. Okay, so all these are the point sources through which you are either having the gravitational waves, electric waves, light waves, sound waves, or radiations. Okay, so that obeys the inverse square law. It is a subject of continuing debate with a source such as a stand on the top of a flagpole. Okay, will its small drop of small drop of according to the inverse square law. That is the question of debate. So what they are saying is, if I'm having a point source here, and if I'm calculating the intensity or its influence, okay, so it has been given with the formula, that is the strength divided by the surface area. Am I right? So at r it is this much I. Okay, but if the radius, if the distance is 2r now, then it is I by 4, means it is decreasing. If the distance is 3r, then again it is decreasing. Okay, so basically what happens is, okay, so if you are having two different point sources, let's say intensity of I, I2, and distances d1, distances d2. Okay, so what is the relation between them is I2 upon I1 is equals to d1 upon d2 whole square. Okay, so that is what is we are looking at, because as you are approaching to this, you know, uh, as you are approaching the twice of the distance. Okay, so basically you are having the sphere over here. Okay, you are having the sphere at r. Okay, but as you increase the distance twice, okay, what happens to the intensity? It is decreased by inverse of the uh, distance multiplication factor, that is 1 by 4. Okay, if the distance is 3 times, then it is intensity is 1 by 9 time. Okay, so basically we will see how to compute. Okay, if let us consider this one. Okay, so this example. Okay, here if the I1 intensity is 105 dB. Okay, and here we need to calculate the I2 at the time if this D1 is, okay, and D2 distance is 20. Okay, so the ratio is 10. Okay, so what happens? Your I2 is always lesser than I1, because here we are having the less distance, here we are having the maximum distance. Okay, so as you go on progressing in this direction, you will be getting lesser and lesser value of I, right? Okay. So based upon these value, okay, if we compute, we will get the I2 as 85 decibel. Okay. Same what we have mentioned over here. If the D2 is 10 times that of D1, okay, right? Then if I1 is 105 decibels, then I2 is 85 decibels. So this is what is the definition of this inverse square law, right? So now we will see the growth and decay of sound. So as we have seen earlier is, if you are having a certain source over here and certain destination or listener over here, the time you can have the direct contact. Okay, so if it is enclosed within some geometry, then you can have multiple reflection, sorry, you can have multiple reflection paths to reach the destination. Okay, and so on, and that causes the reverberation. Okay, so this figure is showing some response over here. Okay, so we are having the points O, P, R, and S, and you can observe there is a different kind of response you are getting over here, like this. So it is stable. Now it is increasing. Again it is stable. Drastically it is decreasing. Okay, so that means what? Okay, so as to understand the concept, okay, consider a room with a source of sound present inside it. Okay, so as soon as this source start producing sound, the sound will start getting reflected from, from the walls, ceiling, floors, okay, and any other surfaces. Due to these reflections, the sound energy at a point inside the room will increase with time. What I've said, due to this, all the reflections, okay, what happens, the sound energy at a point inside the room will get increased with the time. It will keep increasing as long as the source of sound is producing the sound. Am I right? So after some time, okay, the increase in sound energy will stop, right? And it becomes steady or constant with respect to time at this position. Okay, but source is still producing the sound. Am I right? Source is still producing the sound. Once the source stop producing the sound energy starts decaying and reduces to zero very quickly. Okay, so basically what we want is, okay, basically what we want is like this. Okay, so what we want is, here your sound is started, so we want like the response like this. Okay, so this is the point where you are directly listening to it. Okay, or simply of that, so you just want the direct listening. Okay, so this is the sound level and this is the time. Once it is started, you are continuously listening. Once it is stopped, the progression is also stopped. But here you are getting the response like this. Why these curves are there? These curves are there because you are having multiple reflections. Okay, so this is what is the behavior of sound. Okay, when we are having multiple paths of sound from source to destination. Okay, so this is a graph which is showing growth and decay of sound energy in a room. Understood? So at this O point, source start producing the sound. At P point, direct sound reaches the listener. At Q point, sound reinforcement begins due to reflected sound. Now you are getting the multiple sound, so it adds okay the sound level to that particular thing. And at S point, source stops the production of sound, but still from this S point to this point we are getting some sound of that with some decay, right? So this is how the sound behaves. Okay, so for that purpose, what we need to consider is we need to use the insulating material. Okay, so in order to adjust okay the value of reverberation time of a room as per requirement. Okay, so as per requirements, requirement means what? Whether you are going to use that for a musical thing or whether you are only going for the vocal or speech thing. Okay, so we need to control the sound reflection, okay, taking place from various surfaces present in that room. Okay, so as we have seen, the reverberation time increases with more reflective surfaces and it increases with more uh, absorptive surfaces. Okay, so this can be achieved by covering the surface with suitable insulating material. Am I right? Okay. So various insulating materials reduce the intensity of sound in different proportion. Okay. So basically, when you visit the theaters or auditoriums, you generally feel that the walls of those theaters and auditoriums are different. Okay, as we are considering the walls inside our house. Okay, so at that time, okay, some amount of sound has to be absorbed, right? Okay, so for that purpose, some coating is done for absorption of sound. So that part we will see in more detail later on. The next factor is sound reducing index, SRI. So reducing index means what? The effectiveness, okay, of an insulating material in reducing the sound intensity is measured with SRI. So sound radiation index basically used to get the effectiveness of the insulating material. So the SRI is the ratio of intensity of sound incident on the material to the intensity of sound coming out of the material. Okay, so it is clear. Now we will take a small example. If you are listening this lecture with pen and paper, then please try to calculate this. Okay, calculate the reverberation time for a hall with dimensions as 15, 10, and 8. Let me draw. You just take a screenshot of this question and come up with the solution tomorrow. Okay, or you can simply WhatsApp me the solutions. Okay. So we will discuss that solution to this problem tomorrow. Okay. So you need to calculate. See what data has been given to you. There is a certain hall. Am I right? In that hall, the length has been given, width has been given, and height has been given. Okay. So this hall is covered with thin carpet, open windows, thick carpet, curtains, and audiences. Okay. The respective number: one thin carpet, six open windows, one thick carpet, six curtains. Okay. The dimension of that particular thing has also been given over here, right? And the respective absorption coefficient. Okay, so that is alpha. Okay, so alpha is also given over here. Let us consider this 0.25 is for this thin carpet, one is for open windows, 0.58 for thick carpet, and so on. So what you need to calculate over here is the reverberation time. Okay. So RT 60 is equals to, what was the formula? Yes, it is 55.3 V upon C into A. Now the thing is that with reference to this table, you have to calculate the total absorption coefficient, which is nothing but the surface area multiplied by absorption coefficient. Okay, S into alpha. Okay, so for thin carpet, it is S1 alpha 1 plus for windows open S2 alpha 2, for thick carpet S2, S3 alpha 3, and so on. And finally, you have to get the cumulative value of this A. Okay. Now, in this one, the value of C is 344, which is constant meter per second. And the volume of the room, is 15 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 8. It goes up to 1200. Okay, so calculate all the figures and find out what is the reverberation time for this one. Okay. Ah, okay, you just take short and work on it, and we will be verifying the solution in tomorrow's lecture, right? So take the screenshot on your laptops and cell phones. Okay. Okay, so we will see what is the reverberation time. So I have the solution, but still you just give a try. Okay, to calculate the value of this one. Okay, so the next part is auditorium acoustics. Okay, so first of all, we will see what is the sorry, sorry. So we will see what is the requirements. Okay, and then we will be considering some factors when you are constructing the auditorium. Okay, the condition which should be satisfied for ensuring very good acoustic properties of an auditorium. Okay, so that we are going to see. Okay, so in every part of the auditorium, including the corners, okay, a sufficient sound energy should be produced corresponding to each separate syllable spoken so as to ensure a comfortable listening. Means in auditorium, you must ensure that at any corner you must be able to listen in a proper manner. Reverberation should be checked. Okay, means for what purpose you are utilizing that, you have to consider, and proper reverberation time has to be checked and reduced. You have to reduce that, okay, to a desired limit as per the requirement. Okay, so this is the second requirement. First of all, you must ensure that every syllable should be uh, you know worth listening at any nook and corner of your auditorium room. Okay, the second one is the proper reverberation time is maintained as per the requirement. Okay, the third one is the distribution of sound throughout the auditorium should be fairly uniform. Okay, there should not be any kind of echo or reverberation. Okay, or some undesirable, okay, form should not be there. There should not be any silent zone, okay, for having very high intensity of a sound. Okay, so first, as you have to check for the corners that you are getting the sound. The second one is proper reverberation time has to be maintained. Third one is proper uniform distribution of sound throughout the auditorium is desired. The fourth one is the total quality of sound, okay, should be preserved. Okay, so quality of sound should be preserved. The fifth one is The absorbing material should be distributed evenly and randomly also to reduce the reverberation. Okay, so absorption material has to be placed properly. Okay, okay, and the absorbing material absorb less energy at low frequency. Okay, so for that purpose, we can use the fibrous substances. Okay, so as to serve the purpose. Okay. Now coming to this, the while constructing such auditorium, okay, what kind of factors we need to consider is first one is the reverberation time. Okay, so the acoustics of an auditorium should be adjusted in accordance with the purpose. Okay, for which we are using it. So reverberation time for the auditorium should be a smaller value. For example, as we have seen earlier, we can take the value, let us say zero point 0.5 seconds. Okay, and for music, okay, for that we can take above 1 second. Okay, so how to adjust this one. Second one is resonance reduction. Okay, so walls, floor, ceiling of auditorium will have their natural resonant frequency. Okay, but any such resonance will be undesirable because it will strengthen only a specific frequency to upset the tonal balance. Okay, so you have to take care of that also. Okay, the effect of resonance can be reduced by absorbing these frequencies. Okay, with the help of such provisions like resonant cavities. Okay, and so on. So you have to take care of resonance also. Okay. The third important factor to be considered is provision of openings. Okay. If the auditorium is not air conditioned, then an opening is approximately uh, you know uh, zero point 0.5 meter square. Okay, provided for the listeners and so on. The fourth one is use of insulating materials. Okay, so as we have seen, the insulating materials, how they are important to maintain the reverberation time and so on. So, well adjusted resonance, reverberation time, low resonance, okay, proper provision for openings and proper insulating materials. Okay, that is the features of a good auditorium acoustics. So, whenever it has been asked, you have to narrate this with reference to these points. But as we have seen, the requirements. Again, I'll revise it. These are the factors to be considered while construction. But requirements number one is for every corner the sound is audible. Second one, reverberation time should be checked. Third one, what is the third one? Distribution of sound is fairly uniform. Fourth one, the quality of sound should be preserved. Fifth one, absorbing material, okay, should be distributed evenly as well as randomly, okay, to reduce the reverberation. Okay, and absorbing material absorb less energy at lower frequencies. Okay, so these are the requirements and these are the factors considered over here. Okay, so this is how we can build auditorium, right? Okay. Now, as far as the studio acoustics are concerned, yes, tomorrow we will be covering the studio acoustic part, right? So, to stop for today and please try to solve that problem again. Yes, I'll again share this one with you. You just take a screenshot and find out the reverberation time for a given scenario. So we will be stopping for today, and we'll again meet on Monday. So before that, you must be ready for the solution. Okay. So okay, then we'll stop here, and we will be continuing on Monday with studio acoustics. Okay. So thank you for patiently listening. Take care.